Hello, friends, and welcome to the Mary Trump Show. I am not Mary Trump. I'm Brown Mary Wajatali, subbing in for Mary. Don't worry, she's fine. She just needs the day off. And folks, welcome to what should be a slow news day. That's what Fridays used to be, but not anymore. Not in the 2025 America, where a corpulent, corrupt, criminal white supremacist president who wants to incite war against the left and is unleashing the National Guard against the American people is the commander-in-chief of the United States of America. My name is Wajahat Ali. I am Brown Mary. And folks, we love Creedence Clearwater, but as you all know, we do it like Tina Turner here. We're not going to do it nice and easy. We're going to do it nice and rough, and we're going to be blunt, and we're going to keep it real, and we're not going to sanitize and whitewash like corporate media or New York Times or Ezra Klein or MSNBC. Oh no, folks, there was a tragedy, the murder of right-wing activist and advocate Charlie Kirk 2 days ago. Yes, it seems like 2 years. It was just 2 days ago. And we condemn political violence, regardless of who does it. We condemn murders, no matter who does it. Charlie Kirk was murdered, and today a suspect was turned himself in. Tyler Robinson, the alleged shooter. He is not transgender. He is not an immigrant. He is not Muslim. He's a white man with a gun. Let's get into it. Big wheel keeps on turning. Brown Mary keeps on burning. And we're rolling on Friday night as we finally have a suspect in the shooting of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk on Wednesday was giving a speech in Utah in front of 3,000 people. He was shot and killed by one bullet. It seemed to be a high-powered sniper rifle from several hundred yards away. There was a manhunt. The FBI, under the pathetic, incompetent leadership of Kash Patel, who has no law enforcement experience, shockingly failed and tripped up numerous times. There were a lot of red herrings. There was a lot of reckless reporting about transgender people and Antifa and leftists. But today, we finally have a suspect. The alleged shooter is Tyler Robinson, and this is what we know about him, folks. Tyler Robinson is 22 years old from Utah. He was turned in by his own father. His father is an ex-sheriff. Their family, according to their grandmother, are all Trump-voting families, white, conservative, MAGA Trump voters, very support the blue, pro-Second Amendment. Tyler is white. He's straight. He's 22. He's male. He's Christian. He comes from a conservative family, conservative background, Second Amendment supporter, experienced firearms user from his youth. Allegedly, apparently, according to everything, a good, sweet son. Outside of the murder, he was law-abiding. Again, his family, not lefties, not trans, not Muslim, not immigrants, white, Christian, Trumpers, MAGA, pro-Second Amendment. That's what we know so far. And we're going to get into it when it comes to the ideology, the engravings, what we know, and why people are using these words like Gropers and Helldivers too. And what does this all mean? We're going to break it all down, folks. Now, for better or worse, maybe I am the right guest host for today because I've spent the past 14 years as a masochist researching right-wing extremism, researching the intersection of anti-Semites and nativists and bigots and Islamophobes. And I've been trying my best for 14 years to warn America about this growing radicalized international threat. And it seems, folks, based on what we know today, that this shooter, the suspect, Tyler Robinson, was radicalized in part online and belongs, again, what we know so far, he, if not belongs to and or is using many of the catchphrases, idioms, and pop culture that is expressed by the Gropers movement. We'll get into it. But first, here, let's watch a clip from MSNBC.
And I want to bring in our panel, MSNBC's investigative correspondent Mark Santia, White House correspondent Von Hilliard, and retired NYPD officer Jillian Snyder. Mark, walk us through what we learned and just your thoughts on where this investigation stands right now.
Anna, we heard a lot. We didn't expect to hear this much at a press conference. A lot of information was released, including, I think, what you heard from the governor there, as well as the FBI. There was planning. that went into this. They kind of detailed what happened not only on campus, the shooting of Charlie Kirk, but what happened before, the hours, the days before, information that a family member recognized and reached out and cooperated with investigators, that investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who said Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner. This was prior to the day of the shooting, prior to September 10th. And they said that in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to campus. They talked about why they didn't like him. They said he talked about why he didn't like him and viewpoints he had. The other family member also stated that he was full of hate, spreading hate. Family member also confirmed the vehicle. Investigators were also able to match all of that up. A lot of information came out today.
A lot of information came out today, and also some information came out when it came to the shooting suspect in the Denver high school. Because it's America, we have multiple mass shootings. Right as we heard about Charlie Kirk's murder, neighboring in Denver, there was another shooting in a high school. 3 people were injured, and we just found out today that the shooting suspect was not trans, not immigrant, not brown, not black, not Muslim, but a 16-year-old white boy with a gun who was radicalized also online and promoted anti-Semitism and white supremacist conspiracy theories. This is America. Now, we're still waiting to learn more. All of this is breaking news. As we're discussing it today, we might find some more stuff, and if we do, I'll bring it to you. Daily Beast just came out with an article, said that Charlie Kirk's suspect's grandma says family is all MAGA. Tyler Robinson, the prime suspect for Charlie Kirk's assassination, comes from a proud MAGA family, according to his grandmother. Tyler Robinson was 22. There's no information that I could verify that he has voted Republicans. We have seen some photos where he dressed up as Donald Trump. We have seen photos for Halloween where he posed as Pepe the Frog. I will explain what that is. And we know that his family background, again, not leftist, not transgender. And the reason why I keep bringing this up, folks, is for the past 3 days, what I have posted is the following. There has been no suspect yesterday. There was no motive. And despite there being no suspect or no motive yesterday, for the past 2 days, Donald Trump, the president of the United States of America, all of the major MAGA right-wing influencers that include Laura Ingraham and also Greg Gutfield and Jesse Waters and libs of TikTok, what do they say? They blamed it on left-wing violence. In fact, I actually think I did some research, Dennis. I got DJ Dennis with me today. I'm going to do my own research. I have this for you because we don't have this as a graphic. Mr. Trump, Donald Trump, went in front of the world before there was a suspect and said the following. Liberal criticism of conservatives was, quote, directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now, end quote. That was the president of the United States of America without any evidence, without any suspects. They were trying to fuel and incite violence and threats against the rest of us. The left means anyone and everyone who is not MAGA. Nancy Mace, we'll talk about Nancy Mace, blamed the transgender community. Nancy Mace blamed the left and Democrats. Don Jr. blamed without evidence transgender communities, right? The Wall Street Journal yesterday, in a reckless, just dangerous, if you will, headline, said, according to preliminary internal reports, that the shooter's rifle, they had recovered ammunition with the shooter's rifle that appeared to be engraved with statements expressing transgender and anti-fascist ideology. What they didn't mention was the following. Senior law enforcement officials with direct knowledge of the investigation cautioned that report had not been verified by ATF analysts, did not match other summaries of the evidence, and might turn out to have been misread or misinterpreted. And indeed, it seems like it was misread and misinterpreted, because some of the engravings that were found on the bullets were the following. Hey, fascist, catch. Oh, bella ciao. If you read this, you are gay, LMAO. Up arrow, right arrow, 3 down arrows. Notices, bulges, OWO, what's this? Now, as we learn more about the suspect and his ideology, questions have begun to arise about whether or not he might have in fact been part of the Groper movement. What I just said right now, bella ciao, hey fascist catch, notices bulges, if you read this, you are gay, LMAO, are the type of words, phrases, and idioms that are found online within the Groper community on 4chan. Many of you right now are like, Waj, what the hell are you talking about? Groypers, 4chan, Bella Chow. I don't understand any of this. I understand. So I'm going to explain it. I'm going to connect the dots. I'm not going to be condescending. I'm going to explain it slowly as if everyone here is an 8-year-old, because what's common to me and others is not common to everyone else. But we need to know this now, folks. This is what's happening online. This is what's radicalizing increasingly, almost not entirely exclusively, but majority of young white men within MAGA and the right wing. Groypers is, or the Groper Army, is a far-right online-based movement organized around white nationalist America First advocate Nick Fuentes. According to the ADL, and ADL wrote this 5 years ago, I keep receipts, the same ADL that excuses Elon Musk, the same ADL that doesn't criticize Donald Trump anymore, the same ADL that is perfectly fine supporting Donald Trump and their right wing going after pro-Palestinian activist students. Yeah, that ADL. That ADL did a backgrounder on Nick Fuentes and the Groypers 5 years ago. According to the ADL, the group consists of, quote, alt-right, white nationalist, and Christian nationalist activists who hold virulently anti-Semitic, racist, and homophobic views, often cloaked in rhetoric about traditional values and family. One of the big enemies of the Groypers of Nick Fuentes, wait for it, was Charlie Kirk. For years, they went and harassed Charlie Kirk and the Turning Point organizers, right? Turning Point USA was the group that Charlie Kirk had created more than a dozen years ago. Why did they hate Charlie Kirk, who is so far right? A man whose whole legacy was promoting hate, a man who's a Trumper, a man who promoted the January 6th insurrection, a man who said gays should be stoned, a man who said black people were better off in slavery, a man who said he didn't believe in the Civil Rights Act, thought it was a mistake, a man who didn't believe in the separation of church and state, a man who ridiculed women and transgender people, a man who hated immigrants, a man who proudly went against gun control even after a 2023 mass shooting and said, well, you know, some of it might be worth it because we have to have our Second Amendment rights. Oh, the tragic irony. He died because of a shooter. And if there was gun control, he might have survived. That Charlie Kirk, that hateful piece of shit. I'm going to say it. That is my opinion. You can condemn Charlie Kirk's murder and also call out his legacy of hate. I refuse to sanitize him. I refuse to whitewash him. I refuse to romanticize him. I refuse to lionize him. I refuse to elevate him like every single institution has done in America. This man who said to stone gays, mocked Muslims, promoted the January 6th insurrection, right? Hated women, hated transgender people, hated gun control. That Charlie Kirk, all his words, he wore it proudly, said it proudly. He spent his talents, his life radicalizing young people to bully the most marginalized folks on earth. That Charlie Kirk is the one that the New York Yankees had a moment of silence for, that yesterday during the Green Bay Packers game, they had a moment of silence for, that every single corporate media institution has whitewashed everything that I just said. It's all out there. They whitewashed all of it. Ezra Klein of the New York Times said, the same Charlie Kirk, everything I just said, go look at it. I bring the receipts. Charlie Kirk was practicing politics the right way. You can condemn and should condemn, in my humble opinion, his murder and political violence, and at the same time call out his legacy of hate and not sanitize him. And I want to ask you all another question, just because we're going to connect some themes. Notice who gets valorized in death, who becomes a hero, who becomes a martyr. Notice who this country makes monuments for, statues for, bridges for. White supremacists, losers of the Civil War, racists who seceded from this country because they wanted to own black people. And look what they're doing to Charlie Kirk. And I want you to ask yourself this, and let's have a conversation in the comment section. What does it say about this country that so many powerful institutions, nearly every single powerful institution, and the entirety of the Republican Party valorize Charlie Kirk more so than presidents and actual saints and popes who are killed? My wife had no idea who Charlie Kirk was. She's like, wow, he must have been a really important man because I've never seen this type of a send-off for anyone. And then she found out what he was about. She goes, oh my God, This man was disgusting. And look at the double standard real quick. Vance Bolter, another white man, another Trump voter, radicalized by QAnon, took his gun and a list of 70 targets just recently in Minnesota. Shot and killed Melissa Hortman, state representative, Democrat, her husband, her dog. Shot 2 other representatives. Had a hit list of 70. Donald Trump couldn't even be bothered to call Melissa Hortman. Didn't lower the flags. I didn't see anything done by the Yankees or the NFL. J.D. Vance skipped the 9/11 memorial yesterday and flew in the plane with Charlie Kirk's body, and Usha Vance, his very brown-skinned Indian-American wife, held Charlie Kirk's wife's hand. The same Usha Vance, the brown woman with biracial children that Charlie Kirk said was invading America because he promoted the white supremacist replacement theory. He believed in it, which radicalized people to commit violence against Jews, Muslims, and black people. You all with me? I'm going to connect the dots. I'm going to be blunt. Now, going back to Gropers, the person I just explained, Charlie Kirk, pretty far right, Dennis? Pretty hateful. Seems okay. If you're a hard right, anti-Semite, nativist, pro-white nationalist, pro-conspiracy theorist, Charlie Kirk is your guy. Nick Fuentes and Gropers hated Charlie Kirk. Nick Fuentes actually made his bones in the right-wing movement because him and his Groper army used to harass Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA organizers. Why? Because they said Charlie Kirk was not pro-white enough. They said Charlie Kirk was not pro-America enough. They called Charlie Kirk a fascist. You all with me? Now, these engravings on the bullets, hey, fascist, catch, up arrow, right arrow, 3 down arrows. There is a game called Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 is a game, great game, which very knowingly mocks fascists. It's like the Starship Troopers of video games, the movie, great movie by Paul Verhoeven, like on-the-nose satire, making fun of fascism. In the game, you actually are the bad guys. You're like actually this fascist army, right? So it mocks and critiques and satirizes fascist armies. In the game, up arrow, right arrow, 3 down arrows, you drop a bomb. And when you drop a bomb in online gamers, you say, hey, fascist, catch. This was the bomb that was dropped on Charlie Kirk. Oh, Bella Ciao. Oh, Bella Ciao, in World War II, the Italian song, anti-fascist song. Guess who also uses Oh, Bella Ciao? Want to take a guess? Gropers. And they use it because they're co-opting some of this language. Notices bulges, O-W-O, what's this? Gamers use this, and the bulges is a sexualized type of term, and it has been used for transvestigating. If you want to transvestigate online, you notice bulges, and O-W-O is an emoticon that has curiosity and surprise. And then you have, if you read this, you are gay, LMAO. The governor of Utah literally read this today. He said, and on the bullets we found, if you read this, you are gay, LMAO. And on 4chan, the swamp of the right wing, they were all laughing because they said, he said it. He said the thing. What was the thing? If you read this, you are gay, because they're homophobes and also they are misogynist. If you're all with me, let me know. If you need me to connect some more dots, let me know. Now, since the shooting on Wednesday, it's just been Wednesday, MAGA has been riling up their base. Wired did a sheet of collecting all the posts where they were literally blaming the left and inciting violence against the left, saying things like war, civil war, right? They blamed the Democrats. Again, there was no suspect, no motive. They were blaming transgender people. Anyone accused of being the enemy, the left, right? But since the real suspect has been revealed, and again, the real suspect, according to what we know right now, is Tyler Robinson, 22-year-old white man from a conservative Trump voting family, gun enthusiast. They seem to be having it's like amnesia. It's all, oh my God, there's been a huge shift, folks. It's been a whiplash, if you will. I do want to show this. Dennis, I know I'm jumping the gun, but show him Nancy Mace. Show him what Nancy Mace said today.
This shit ends. Like, enough is enough. And now I have to deal with real safety concerns. It sounds like the shooter was a tranny or pro-tranny. And just because I want to protect women, that I'm worried about getting murdered? Are you fucking kidding me? it's out of control, and enough is enough. And I'm going to double down on this. I'm going to be more vigilant than ever. I'm going to be louder than I've ever been until this shit stops. It's got to stop.
Cool. We found out that today the shooting suspect is Tyler Robinson, a 22-year-old white man, not a transgender or a leftist. Can you show me her tweets, Dennis, now that you found that out? We know Charlie Kirk would want us to pray for such an evil and lost individual like Tyler Robinson to find Jesus Christ. We will try to do the same. Huh? What? I thought she was going to double down. Okay, we see the other tweet also. We truly believe if Tyler Robinson had ever sat down across from Charlie, the great debater, the man of faith and grace he was, Tyler wouldn't have pulled the trigger. Oh, Tyler. Oh, not using any names like, oh, the shooter, the extremist, the terrorist, the psycho. Oh, I thought she was going to double down, y'all. Didn't we hear her just say double down? No? These people are the most shameless people on earth. Is there anyone more shameless than the modern Republican Party in modern global politics? Please try to find it for me. How do you shame shameless people? They spent the past 2.5 days without any evidence riling up their base to commit violence against the left, baselessly attacking transgender people, right? And now it's a white, straight man from a conservative, Trump-loving family. And from what we know, folks, again, from what we know, and I tried to just show you what we have, believe the evidence of your eyes and ears, it seems likely he was influenced in part by the Gropers. And on 4chan, the Gropers themselves are saying, oh shit, he looks like one of ours. He might be one of ours. Now, Donald Trump cares a lot about crime, stamping out crime, tough on crime, national security. I mean, that's why he has 2,000 National Armed Guard members here in Washington, D.C., 20 minutes away from me. That's why he's unleashed masked armed ICE agents who can now, according to the Supreme Court, these corrupt right-wing hacks in black robes can racially profile anyone and crack skulls in L.A., right? He's now threatened to take out the National Guard against Chicago and earlier today Memphis. He must really care. He must be, oh man, he must be on top of it. Their hero, their king. Their once and future king, Charlie Kirk, was murdered by the leftists, apparently. They were riling up their base. Dennis, can you please show us how much Donald Trump cares about keeping this country safe?
Radicals on the right as well. We have radicals on the left. People are watching all of these videos and cheering. Some people are cheering that Charlie was killed. How do we fix this country? How do we come back together?
I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less. The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see crime. They don't want to see crime.
Worried about the border.
They're saying, we don't want these people coming in. We don't want you burning our shopping centers. We don't want you shooting our people in the middle of the street. The radicals on the left are the problem. And they're vicious, and they're horrible, and they're politically savvy.
I couldn't care less. The number one domestic terror threat in America for several years running has been right-wing violence done by right-wing extremists and white supremacists. They're the GOAT. They're MJ of violent extremism in America. No one comes close in terms of incidents and violence. Never mentions it. The person who tried to kill him was a radicalized white man and gun enthusiast from a Republican Trump-loving family. The person who killed Melissa Hortman, white Trumper. The people who stormed the Capitol and beat up cops and smeared shit in the U.S. Capitol and tried to kill Mike Pence, Trumpers. The people that he pardoned, the violent insurrectionists, Trumpers. The person last month who attacked the CDC and killed a cop, Trumper, right? The people who have been trying to terrorize Dr. Fauci, Trumper. The people who have gone after educators, Trumper, right? The guy who tried to attack the FBI headquarters in Ohio, Trumper. The people who tried to kidnap Governor Whitmer, Trumper. The people who bombed Josh Shapiro's home, Trumper. And now it seems that this suspect, and again, we're learning more as more information comes out, we'll talk about it, Tyler Robinson, 22-year-old white man from a Republican Trump-loving family who is espousing a lot of the same talking points, that are associated with the Groper Army. The Groper Army is led by Nick Fuentes. And folks, you know I keep the receipts. 2 years ago, about 2.5 years ago, Nick Fuentes, and remember when I read about the ADL background, Nick Fuentes, that was from 5 years ago, okay? So the ADL was on top of this 5 years ago. I was on top of this several years ago. 2.5 years ago, 2023, Donald Trump has dinner with Nick Fuentes and post-anti-Semitic Kanye West. And everyone was asking him to condemn. And he said, I didn't know. Kanye was Kanye's friend. I didn't know. And then afterwards, they said, well, now you know. Will you condemn Nick Fuentes? It's been 2.5 years. He has not condemned Nick Fuentes. Why? Guardian reported that if he condemned Nick Fuentes, he knew he would be splintering his base. Yesterday, because I'm a masochist, and I was trying to connect the dots, and I said, folks, we don't have a suspect yet. We're still learning more information. This was last night. I said, folks, the suspect could be a white man, radicalized, much like Trump's shooter, radicalized white man from a Republican family. It could be that this person might be radicalized Groper, because Groper hated Charlie Kirk. You know who also turned on Charlie Kirk recently? Laura Loomer, who is so influential that she has Donald Trump's ear. She has Marco Rubio's ear. She deleted her tweet, folks, from a couple of weeks ago, in which she accused Charlie Kirk of stabbing Donald Trump in the back for not being sufficiently pro-Trump because he platformed Dave Smith, a libertarian former Trumper who says Trump should be impeached. So you had Laura Loomer, who conveniently deleted that tweet, who accused Charlie Kirk of stabbing her in the back. And you had people probably pissed off at Charlie Kirk because he said release the Epstein files. And then you had the Gropers who have been after him for 5 years. So I was saying, watch it, folks. There's no suspect. There's no motive. It could be a radicalized white MAGA dude who hates Charlie Kirk. And as of today, the suspect is a 22-year-old white man, gun enthusiast from a Republican family who seems to be echoing much of the Groper commentary. Last night, Nick Fuentes went online on Rumble. He streamed. You want to take a guess, folks, how many people were on this hate monger Nick Fuentes' live stream last night? 200,000 people. 200,000 people. This is what's happening in America. This is what's happening in the right wing. Charlie Kirk was not right wing enough for Nick Fuentes and the Gropers. Well, Charlie Kirk, again, a man who has a legacy of hate, was honored, sanitized, celebrated. There's hagiographies written about him. New York Yankees did a moment of silence. Republicans were acting very, very oddly this whole week, very confidently. And of course, Donald Trump was really just sad. He was really sad about his friend dying. Can you show us the clip, Dennis?
How are you holding up over the last 3.5 years? I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks. They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something that we've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty. It'll be an absolutely magnificent structure. And I just see all the trucks. We just started, so it'll get done very nicely, and it'll be one of the best anywhere in the world, actually. Thank you.
So if you couldn't hear Dennis, great job bringing that clip. I'm working with DJ Dennis today. Lexi's out, so Dennis is stepping in. It's me and Dennis for the first time. I think we're doing so far so good, right, Dennis? 30 minutes in. For those who didn't hear, a reporter, that was just from today, asked him, my condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. How are you holding up? And Donald Trump said, quote, I think very good. And by the way, you see all the trucks? They just started construction on the new ballroom in the White House. He doesn't give a shit about anyone, including his own base, including the white farmers who are now killing themselves and who are praying to God for some relief. He doesn't care about anything except himself. This is Donald Trump. And speaking about oddly or strange comments, I think this was so revelatory. I mean, let's dissect this for a second. This is Utah Governor Spencer Cox I want to unpack this. Dennis, play that clip.
For 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us, that somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for.
It wouldn't be one of us. I was praying it would be someone else from another country. They just tell on themselves. Brown person, black person, immigrant, Muslim, transgender. It is one of us. That one of us is an American. That one of us is a white man, the number one domestic terror threat in terms of identity, white people. Number one when it comes to identities of mass shooters, white people. So far, the only person who tried to assassinate Donald Trump, white man. It was one of them, a white man, young man, 22 years old, allegedly, from a Utah family whose father was a sheriff, a man who grew up with guns and was a gun enthusiast his entire life. His name is Tyler Robinson, straight, cisgendered white male from a Christian, conservative, Trump, Republican-loving family. That's according to his grandmother. They all vote Trump, right? That's who it was. Utah, born and bred. White America, Second Amendment, Blue Lives Matter, MAGA, Republican, Trumpers. One of us. And Republicans refuse to look in the mirror. They refuse to confront the number one domestic terror threat in America, because if they did, they would see a face that would look a lot like theirs. So you never, ever see Donald Trump talk about white supremacist violence or right-wing violence. In the clip that Dennis played earlier today, when asked about it, he goes, I don't care. And then shamelessly, he shifted again to left-wing violence. Does not even compare. It's like Pee Wee Herman taking on Mike Tyson and friggin' like all the characters from Street Fighter. That's how goat white supremacist terrorism is in America. They refuse to confront it. This is the monster that they have created. They thought they can contain this monster and use it as a weapon against the left. But I've always said, what happens if the monster escapes the lab and attacks the doctor, the scientist, the creator? And that's what you're seeing right now. They weaponize people through QAnon, the conspiracy theory. And now, because they radicalize their own base with QAnon, their base is the one that's demanding the release of the Epstein files. Their base is the one that's pissed off. Vance Bolter, radicalized by QAnon. Ashley Babbitt, radicalized by QAnon. Nick Fuentes, leader of the Gropers, who dined with Donald Trump. This guy, Tyler Robinson, we're going to find out more. He's using a lot of the same language of Gropers, further to the right than Charlie Kirk. And in addition to trolling Charlie Kirk, what did the Gropers do? And I said this also. I said this out to Ben Shapiro. I don't know him. I said, you better be careful, man, because in addition to trolling and threatening and mocking Charlie Kirk, they have also trolled and threatened Ben Shapiro. Folks, maybe it's a MAGA civil war. Maybe that's what they forgot to say when they were trying to incite violence against the rest of us. But don't worry, folks. Don't you feel safer? Because you have Kash Patel as the head of the FBI. Dennis, do you feel safer knowing that Kash Patel, a man with no law enforcement background, was the head of the FBI, a man who promoted conspiracy theories, a man who promoted the January 6th conspiracy theories, a man who tried to whitewash the January 6th conspiracy and promoted the January 6th conspiracy choir, a man who went on Bannon before the election and said that he has a list of critics and enemies he will go after? That Kash Patel. Oh, it seems maybe, just maybe, the head of the FBI should be a person with a modicum of experience. But instead, we get the world's worst South Asian, Kash Patel. It seems like hiring a far-right podcast bro who is not just underqualified, but not qualified, is possibly the worst decision when one of your heroes, Charlie Kirk, gets murdered. The Daily Beast reports that Patel initially announced that a suspect was in custody, then had to backtrack hours later when that individual was deemed innocent and released. The FBI's slow release of security footage, wrongful detentions of innocent men, and reliance on public pleas and right-wing folks like Steven Crowder for tips further fueled the perception of agency, chaos, and incompetence. Meanwhile, Patel and his other podcast bro, his FBI deputy director, missing in action Don Bongino because of the Epstein files, initially remained in New York for 9/11 memorial events instead of immediately taking charge in Utah. The Independent reports that Patel's recent actions have had a negative impact on the agency's handling of this case. For instance, Robert Bowles, the FBI special agent in charge for the field office in Utah, has been in office less than a month. The inexperienced Bowles replaced Mehtab Sayed, and if I may flex for a bit, Mehtab, Pakistani-American Muslim woman, who was part of Patel's purge, forced out of her job last month. She was known as a, quote, legendary agent, given 24 years of her life in the field, had expertise, respect of her colleagues. She was the lead agent in Salt Lake City. She was out. She was gone, purged. But instead, you have Kash Patel. The Beast also reports that when the suspect was finally apprehended, Patel purportedly sat on this news so his dear leader, Donald Trump, could get a chance to break the story on state TV, Fox and Friends. And then at a press conference about the arrest, Patel's remarks were downright weird and cringy. Just listen to him.
This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. The FBI and our partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk and honor his memory. I want to express my deep gratitude to President Trump, the Vice President, and the entire White House who have been so incredibly supportive with both resources and just personally to the FBI as a team. They had our backs the entire way, and I just want to express my gratitude for giving us the resources we need to operate in this space to bring this sort of justice at this sort of speed. In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie. Governor Cox, our partnership has been absolutely incredible these last few days. Our partnership will endure. Your state and local partners, your sheriffs, your DPS community has been unbelievably impressive in the hardest of times. And a case like this cannot be solved, cannot be brought without partnering with your state and local authorities. The FBI has a certain role to play, and we will play that role, and we will lead out for the federal government. But Governor Cox, we are so grateful for your state partnership that led out on this investigation.
Just a reminder, the shooter, the suspect, Tyler Robinson, turned himself in. His father allegedly asked him, a family member, we assume it was his father, asked him to turn himself in, and his father kept him, and then until law enforcement came. That means, if you've been following like I have, yesterday when they talked to officials in Utah, they said, we got nothing right now. Nothing. Chaos. So they didn't do shit. They were just running around, just lost. He turned himself in. Okay. So Kash Patel got lucky because the dude turned himself in, and his dad asked him to turn himself in, and his dad was an ex-sheriff and kept him, detained until law enforcement could come. But then, because Kash Patel, they're also weak, they're also pathetic. I'm going to break this down because even Dennis didn't understand this statement. I'll break it down. Listen to what he said.
Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
Okay. Valhalla, the mythical afterlife, the kingdom for Norse warriors, Vikings. That's where they go, to Valhalla. Wagner wrote songs about this. Hitler's favorite composer was Wagner, right? Ah, yes, the Aryan race, the Germans, Valhalla will be welcomed. We will ride with the Valkyries to Valhalla. We will drink mead with Thor. Valhalla, pagan Viking culture. If you've seen Mad Max Fury Road, the cult of Immortan Joe, they used to say, Immortan Joe, witness me. I will see you. I witness you. I will meet you in Valhalla, right? In recent years, you would think that the head of the FBI, Kash Patel, would be a little bit more, competent in realizing that maybe it isn't the best move to drop Valhalla The same day that we found out that the 16-year-old shooter in neighboring state Denver was radicalized in part by white supremacist anti-Semitic ideology, and the fact that this shooting suspect, Tyler Robinson, seems to have in part been influenced by it or was part of the Groper movement, or at least used their terminology. And these people are also white nationalists. And the fact that in recent years, white nationalists, white supremacists, and Nazis have used the word Valhalla. That is, if you will, their paradise. So here is a Hindu son of Indian immigrants, Kash Patel, saying he will meet Charlie Kirk in Valhalla, surrounded by Mormons. God bless DEI and God bless diversity. I hate the fact that I know so much about this stuff. It really pisses me off. This is what I've done with my life for the last several years. Folks, it's a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's all bad. And to make it a little bit worse, Donald Trump continues to prioritize the worst people on earth, billionaires, rich polluters, sycophants, over the health and safety of Americans. This afternoon, the New York Times reported that the EPA, remember the EPA, announced it will stop requiring thousands of major polluters to report their greenhouse gas emissions. This includes coal plants, oil refineries, and steel mills. Since 2010, this data has been collected under the Greenhouse Gas Reporting Program. This served as the country's most comprehensive system for tracking carbon dioxide, methane, and other heat-trapping gases. This is the latest move by the Trump regime to roll back climate initiatives. The New York Times quoted Trump's EPA administrator, Lee Zeldin, as saying, quote, the greenhouse gas reporting program is nothing more than bureaucratic red tape. It costs American businesses and manufacturing billions of dollars, driving up the cost of living. You know what else will drive up the cost of living? Tariffs, trade wars. Prices have gone up. Inflation has wiped away all the income gains. The rich have gone richer, the poor have gone poorer, but don't you worry, because if you have crypto like Trump and his friends, you made money, because he signed the first pro-crypto legislation, the Genius Act. And guess what? If you're like Donald Trump and his family, with crypto, you too can make $5 billion worth of money in the past 8 months. That's how much his family is worth thanks to crypto, $5 billion. And the big, beautiful bill that adds $3 trillion to the debt, it comes at the expense of Medicaid, because $1 trillion will cut Medicaid. But don't worry, they found somehow money for ICE, $180 billion for ICE and more detention centers and more prisoners. So you'll have that. You'll be poorer, you'll be sicker, you'll be more tired, and you'll be more desperate. And they want you to commit crimes because they need bodies in those new detention centers so they could make money off of your misery. And speaking about incompetence and inexperience and corruption, well, Kash Patel, inexperienced head of FBI. FEMA staffers have really recently warned of a, quote, Katrina-level disaster that might happen thanks to cuts when it comes to disaster relief, and because their leader right now, their acting director, is completely unqualified, and they had to tell him that America had a hurricane season. He goes, huh? What's that? He had no idea. Kash Patel has no idea. Oh, don't worry, at least you'll be healthy. Oh no, RFK, completely unqualified as well, dismantling the CDC and is trying to link Tylenol to autism. They've cut the CDC, gutted it. They removed the own CDC director, Dr. Moneris, that they voted for because she would not go ahead with RFK's, anti-vax pro-death march. So the CDC is gutted. They're gutting the National Institute of Health. They have this extremist Lee Zeldin who wants to undo the EPA as the head of the EPA. The person who wants to undo the Department of Education is another billionaire, Linda McMahon. She got to do what his first Trump administration head of Department of Education couldn't do, Betsy DeVos, and dismantle the Department of Education. So this is what we got, folks. We got the dismantling of America and our institutions by the world's most corrupt, incompetent unpacks who have failed up in life due to wealth, whiteness, celebrity, and or because they suck at the teat of Donald Trump. Do you feel better? Do you feel safer? The number one domestic terror threat in America is white supremacist terrorism. We have more mass shootings in this country than any other country on earth. We have more guns in this country than people, 400 million guns. And the shooter, we'll learn more about him, Tyler Robinson, the alleged suspect. He is white. He is 22 years old. He is a male. He comes from a white, conservative, Republican, Trump-loving family in Utah. He is not Muslim. He is not brown. He's not black. As far as we can tell, he ain't lefty. And as far as we can tell, he has no problem echoing many of the same talking points that we find within the Groper army that is led by Nick Fuentes, that is more racist and extreme than Charlie Kirk. So much so that they thought Charlie Kirk was a fascist, a traitor, and a sellout. And with that, we give you this moment of emotional support. Come on now. That was cathartic. You should see Dennis right now. Each time Dennis has played that, he has laughed out loud. He was just waiting for that moment. Dennis was so happy. He goes, triumph, triumph. Folks, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. And I'm not saying that to be a cynic, but like I've said before, it is my job, and I think it is job for all of us who refuse to bend the knee to Donald Trump, who refuse to bend the knee to fascists, who don't engage in both sides bullshit, who call a thing for what it is. If there's a comet coming in the sky, my job is not to tell you don't look up. My job is to tell you there's a comet coming in the sky. We got to prepare. Now, once there's a comet coming in the sky, it's your choice. Do you choose to put your head in the sand? Do you choose to be apathetic? Do you choose to be selfish? Or do you choose to rally and organize the people to get the comet out of the sky and or save as many people as possible? And so that's where I'm at. When I say all these things, it is not to be a cynic, it's a pragmatist. You have to have eyes wide open. Look at the evidence of your eyes and your ears. Just look at this past week. They tried to incite, by they I mean Donald Trump, the Republican Party, all of MAGA, tried to incite violence against the left before there was a shooter or a motive. And now that it seems like, we're just going off of breaking news, it seems like that this man is not a leftist, but in fact, part of this Groper army. Look how they're doing somersaults. Look how they're doing 180s. Look how they're doing whiplash. And look how Donald Trump says, I don't care, because the end goal is authoritarian rule. He's unleashing the National Guard, ICE agents. He openly, what Zelensky said, oh, you can suspend elections when there's a war. That's good. And people laughed. He's selling 2028 merch. He cannot run again. He's openly asking Republicans to gerrymander. They're saying, yes, daddy. He, again, today on Fox and Friends, spread lies about mail-in voting, which, by the way, he has used and is legal. What's happening, folks? What's happening? He ain't going to leave, all right? Stephen Miller is using the word invasion. Stephen Miller is using the word insurrection. Folks, they're trying to use Charlie Kirk's murder, or they tried to use it now that we found out about the shooter. And it seems, again, based on what we know, Tyler Robinson is the alleged suspect, white, Christian, comes from a conservative MAGA family, and seems to be radicalized in part by Gropers. They tried to use this, and I think they'll still try to use this as their Reichstag fire moment. The Reichstag fire, the burning down of the German parliament in 1933, which the Nazis and Adolf Hitler then used to declare a state of emergency and declare martial law, and then Hitler used that to command power. That, in my opinion, is the end game. Using this, using immigration, using invasion, using the left as a pretext to crack down on the rest of us, normalize the military and National Guard on the streets, punt on the elections, declare martial law, and have Trump be in power for as long as he lives. And then even if he dies because he's old and sick, then they can transfer that power to J.D. Vance. I hope I'm wrong. I want to be proven wrong. Folks, that's our show for today. It's 6:50. Rest, heal. Keep your eyes wide open. And what I said, and I'll say again, do not concede an inch. Don't concede an inch to the bad faith right-wing bullying and shaming. They tried that for the 2 days. I said, F that. Bring out all the receipts, call out their hypocrisy, call out their whitewashing, call out their sanitizing, call out the fact that Trump refuses to condemn the violent insurrectionists, that he pardoned them, that Trump refused to call Melissa Hortman and her family, that they refused to confront right-wing terrorism. Call it all out. Call it all out, because they thrive. Fascism thrives on our silence. Folks, take care of yourself. Be kind. Mary needed the day off. She's perfectly fine. And she asked me at the last second to fill in for her. I did. Don't worry, Mary Trump will be back on Monday. I'm just substituting. I'm Brown Mary. All right. We do it like Tina Turner, not like Credence, right? Big wheel keeps on turning. Brown Mary keeps on burning, and we keep rolling and rolling and rolling on to the weekend. Be kind, be decent, be empathetic, and don't be a fascist.